Okay, so first of all, we just start with what I reset for. Because I can't really obviously commentate on that in the run because I'm just playing the seed. But I basically tap into any seed that looks like a desert and has a temple and a close village and a close enter. I don't need the lava pool. Because you can just dig down at the temple. But basically temple and village. And you should be doing that regardless of the time you're going for. Temples are just too good. Like the gunpowder, obviously. Blocks, village for food. And then being able to come back in the overworld and loot more temples instantly is really good. So I don't think it's correct, in my opinion, to play like islands or whatever, unless like there's a desert in your render. That is my opinion. Just have it in any desert, and then based on what time you're resetting for, play temples in certain render distance, villages in certain render. You know what I mean? Like personally, if I don't think the enter can like sub 6, ideally I go for sub 5. But if I don't think it can sub 6, I reset. Just because I want to start the time save early. But if you're playing for sub 4, even you can enter sub 10, right? Like that's just for minutes, right? Out of the hour, right? That's my opinion. And then in terms of gunpowder count out of temples, I think it's always correct to overlap shulker transport. So I like to leave with at least 10 gunpowder. 15 I'm comfortable with. Like very comfortable. But if I have like 10 from the temple, you kill a couple creepers in the stronghold or just at the blind or whatever. Anything less, you should hit a second temple or just reset. You shouldn't try to force like a 9, 12 gunpowder run. Obviously, unless you have like channeling book, mending book, and breaking book, notch. 5 biomes will spawn, right? But like the ideal gunpowder amount is like 15, in my opinion. So let's just see how I play this overworld. What seed did what do I even tab into here? Bottom left. Yeah, I see this middle left here. I see the village, right? So it's like awesome. Start that quickly. And I see the temple, right? So it's a good seed. Always temple first, unless you spawn like in the village and the temple's far away, because you want to use the cobble from the temple to do tools, right? Just basic shit. Loot the temple. Awesome. Overlap Rotten Flesh and Spider here. Most people know that already. And then I always make sure to try to get flint, because it's hard to get flint. If you're entering desert lava pool, you should like look at the river. Otherwise, it's just basic shit. I get 21 hay bales just so I have a stack of bread. That's just what I'm comfortable with, and it's pretty easy. There's no real reason to get more. Your run out of the end, you shouldn't eat more than a stack of bread, even if you're like crazy overeating. I crazy overeat a lot too, like not optimal food eating, and I never ever use a full stack of bread. But you can get more, obviously. It's just gonna be slightly slower than using like an enchanted diamond hoe or whatever. But yeah, just a basic start. I think I either saw a lava pool or I'm just running. No, I see. Well, there's one there. I don't know when I saw it, right? But just village, temple, lava pool. That's the basic, whatever. I don't reset for any biomes. I don't think you should reset for any biomes. Village, temple, lava pool. This is like a pretty optimal overworld. Like four flat, I'd say, is like really good. Someone asked if hosts prefer to TNT. I just like TNT's fine. It's probably slightly faster, but it just clutters inventory, which is why I don't like to TNT. I like having a clean inventory. And then Nether, obviously play Nethers that are within your reset tolerance. Like if you're playing for sub 5, you can play 32 chunk Bastions if you want to, depending on your loot. Me, I try to play 16 chunk Bastions only, but I just in this stream played a like 24 chunk Bastion and almost got a sub 3. So like it obviously doesn't really matter because it's a small part of the run as a whole, but ideally you want to front load like good pace. So I like playing for like within 16 chunk Bastions that are accessible. And basically any Nether is like playable. You just want it to be open. Like if you're in a wall, you should just reset. But if it's open, you can bridge and stuff, and it's never like a huge deal. So this is just basic Nether stuff. I think I dug into the side of this treasure. I like missed some good terrain, I guess. Let's talk about Bastions. For treasure, for the any percent part, for treasure, you want to break the spawner unless you see a 4, but you kind of want to break it anyways. You're not going to leave lower treasure. So it just depends on where you're entering from. If the terrain like leads you to upper treasure in the sea, just play it and then get lower treasure later. But if you have to like build up to upper treasure, if you dig into the bottom, like always just get the gold from the bottom and bring it up. I never fuck around with lower treasure route because it's just inconsistent. You don't get a ton of pigs. Don't get the chests. So you'll see what I do here is just break the spawner. I didn't have any gold from the temple, which is unlucky, so I kind of had to troll here a little bit. You'll figure out how to deal with the pigs. It's not a big deal. And then I just get everything here and go up. Right, it's very simple. So I get everything here, just stack up. And I like to look for like chests here, because playing AA on 10 obby hurts a lot, because you have to go back to the Stronghold for Endgame. So having a portal I Spy is really important, because it's like twice the time loss if you only have 10, unless you're like a 200 block blind or whatever. I always force 20. It's basically doable on like every Bastion. I probably whiff like 5% of the time. So I got the pearl chest going up. And then it's just the upper treasure route, but you have all the lower treasure gold blocks. And during like the time that they're trading, you can pearl hang to the fort. You can organize your inventory, craft respawn anchors, stuff like that. So this is just basic treasure. I saw the fort when I came in. If you didn't see the fort, this is when you would pyrite, right? Maybe you have to relog for treasure spawner. I would always relog. You can just deal with enchants. Here in this run specifically, I saw the fort, so I pearl hang here. Just overlapping the trade time, basic like RSG tech. And then I overlapped Hoglins here just because I saw I could. And I wasn't really doing anything else. Basically, I don't think I've ever done that before. But I just saw the opportunity. That's the biggest and I'll touch on it a lot more later when we like actually get in the meat of the overworld part of the run. But that's sort of the biggest part of AA in general, is like noticing when there are things you can do conveniently and doing them so you don't lose time to missing overlap or like forgetting things and having to go back. So I noticed I could do Hoglins there instead of doing them later. And I'm overlapping it with the pearl trades, right? So I guess like the basic thought is you want to overlap as many things as possible at the same time always. Like you want to be doing the most amount of things together. That's like an obvious statement. Like obviously you want to do as many things as possible, but if you actually just try to do that in runs, it'll speed your gameplay a lot, because you're going to be looking for things to try to like overlap. I don't know if that makes any sense. So I got a rod built first portal. I saw terrain out. This is just basic, like not real strategy. I guess here a good point is that you always want to make sure you have enough wood for the end, because I always do shulker transport with it. And I recommend always doing shulker transport first. and then having your second end just like end the run, like on the dragon respawn. That's like the last advancement or stone pick in the end or whatever, right? But you have to have enough wood to do that, right? Because you need 2 boats for the shulker. One for the shulker, and then one to make sure it goes to world spawn. You need sticks for fishing rod, bow, crossbow. You need wood for beds. Occasionally, if you're playing like desert only spawns, you could enter the nether without any wood because you play off of like dead bush sticks and then crafting table in a village house. So getting wood is important. And you either get it at the blind or in the library if you're like really screwed. Like very, very rarely have to get planks in the library. But it sometimes happens, right? And it can't be nether wood either because you have to make 2 boats. So it can't be wood in the nether. It has to be wood in the overworld for the boats. But like your beds and your just general crafting things can be nether wood. You just have to make sure to get a couple logs in the overworld, or like I said, get a few planks in the library. So yeah, I'm just getting more wood, which is fine. Like you need a lot of wood for bookshelves too for enchanting. Like 23 logs, so I guess I was just getting more. I don't really know. Then it's just blaze fight. You can blaze bed. I didn't want to deal with it. I don't know. Maybe I'm a bitch or something. I was just chilling. Like organizing inventory and whatever. And just heading to second portal chords, right? Very basic RC stuff. Stronghold. I don't preemptive because I'm lazy and I haven't learned it. You obviously can. So yeah, portal room, and then at least 1 library. Sometimes 2. If you don't get enough paper, or you just want to find the second one, like leaving on 1 if you have enough paper for your rockets and things is fine. I think I botched the nav in this run for a while. Yeah, that's awesome. That's really good. So finally found the library. And then take books in the library. Obviously, I'm assuming that if you're watching this video, you have a general understanding of how AA works. I'm not like gonna explain any strats, like do strat tutorials in detail or anything like that. So you know what books are important. You know how to organize your inventory to make sure you're holding the books. Looting, unbreaking, respiration, aqua affinity, depth strider, mending, channeling, occasionally piercing, but it's so easy to enchant that I don't really care anymore. But this is it, really. Just trying to figure out my inventory here. This is kind of sloppy, I guess. Inventory management's kind of hard. You can technically set your spawn in the stronghold and come back if you want to afterwards. You can also like put a chest here in the end and get it when you're leaving. But generally, a lot of things in your inventory are useless. We'll pause here and just examine what I have, right? So like what are you supposed to keep for the start of the run, like from whatever you're doing? In this run I have 3 spare fire res. I really think you can get away with keeping 2 if you're playing for like a good time. Because you can always extend the second one with redstone and brewing sand to get 8 minutes. It's for skull farming, the fire res, right? I mean, if it's a good run, you'll get your skulls in 6 minutes, just off of 2 pots, if you have like a good for it. But you can keep 3 if you want. Obviously, any like debris or netherite you get from like a treasure or just regular bastions, the TNT from your temple, 1 stack of books. You don't need more than a stack. A stack of arrows, or just however many you get from the bastion, just for half bow, and then you need arrows to bring the shulker back. I only craft 4 beds. This is a personal decision. I don't like messing around with like the crossbow cycle or any type of 0 or anything. But you can. I don't personally mess around with it just because I find it inconsistent. And I've learned to get good with just killing it manually. But you can get more beds if you're crossbow cycling and whatnot. It's just up to you to manage inventory. And then I have that redstone there just because I found it in the Stronghold, and it's good to get things early so you don't forget them later. Similarly, if there's like Lapis in a Stronghold cave or in like an Overworld cave before you enter the Nether, you'll keep that. And then I have an enchanted book. I think it's looting 3, but just regular enchanted books from the library, from the temple, right? So your inventory gets pretty cluttered. And then the rest of it is just blocks, because building up to the end city and just for Shulker, Yeet, and everything, you need just a base amount of blocks. So that's the inventory. And then the only, I guess, advancements in the start of the run, obviously get the mint, save the bottle. But again, I'm assuming that people watching have a general basic understanding of AA. So this is probably all info that you already can comprehend, just like keep the bottle and stuff. But this is how I one cycle. I either go on early heights or I scuff the 3rd bed, depending on the health of the dragon. So here it's like I can hit 2 good beds and potentially kill it. But after this bed, I realized that I can just regularly hit that bed and it's on like 4 health. So it takes a lot to get used to. Obviously if you mess up, you have to kill the dragon again. And if you watch my streams, I definitely scuff it still occasionally, but I found it's pretty consistent. And then the obvious, get the levels, the egg. I always try to look around here. This is, I guess, important. Right when the egg spawns, the gateway spawns also. And it like shoots that purple beacon shit out. So I always F5 around. How is this 1080? I always F5. Oh, it's because of the bitrate on the recording. I always F5 to try to find it. So I saw it right there. Because sometimes it can be behind these pillars and then you have to like look around for it. But it's really easy to see the beacon. So I always try to F5 and do a full 360 when the egg spawns to see that. That's, I guess, the only end tech other than just do regular half bow and don't accidentally kill the dragon with a bed. Now we're in the end. Very cool. I always front load the chorus fruit. And I don't keep it unless I don't have pearls. Because for great view, I just like pearl down. 50 blocks. But you can keep chorus fruit to go down also if you don't have pearls. And then the way that I play ends is I trade out like most of every bastion. And just keep all the pearls for endermite. Like any extra I'll just keep. So I reset in the end if I run out of pearls or if the turn gets bad. That's like my sort of cutoff. Obviously yours can be different. You can do the TNT Enderman trick to get more pearls in the outer end, obviously. But it's a time loss rather than spawning on a ship, so I just don't do it because I can just reset and get a better run. But it depends on your tolerance for what you're resetting for, what pace you want. So it's not like I don't like dissuade you from doing it. It just depends on the pace you're going for. And I never, playing for sub 3, it's never correct, in my opinion. You should never be in a situation where you're out of pearls in the end. But here I always just build up to the ship and go. And then I don't like messing around with the boat stuff. Oh yeah, I missed this pearl. That's awesome. Okay, so this run could have been like a 307. That's cool. I don't like putting shulkers in boats. I know some people do that. I think it's just clunky and slow, and you can just be good and not get hit. And then if you get hit once, then that's when you do Great View. That's what I do. So like I just always box the shulkers. I think putting the boat down and getting in a boat is clunky because you have to like place a block, get them in the boat, then kill them, then get the boat back, right? So it's very clunky. So here it's just looting end cities. The way I like to do it is just go top down, get a good like spatial picture of where I need to go in the city so I don't really like use more rockets than I need to. And then just know what loot I'm looking for. And it's a skill that just it's a skill that builds over time, right? Like just being able to fast recognize the loot that you need, but it's basically just like any diamond leggings that aren't binding, a helmet with either respiration or aqua affinity, depth strider boots, a looting sword. I like if there's a sharp diamond sword, you can use that for the raid. If there's a fire aspect sword, you can use that for cooked food in the run, which is like a very sleeper time save. Like it's very good. People don't do it often. And just raw smite swords are good, or like smite KB or smite mending or whatever for looting combined. If you have like a book or something, smite sword, smite looting is the play to go always. Never like a sharp sword. One tapping wither skellies is too important, and then being able to deck drowns. You should never be killing like that many creepers in a run, and diamond swords will two-shot them anyways. So this is just basic, like I said, entity looting, trying to go top down, getting a good mental picture of like what rooms I need to go to and where they are. So I'm using as little fireworks as possible. So here I like land on the one that has a higher elevation, so then I can jump to the one with lower elevation after, you know, without using a rocket. I'm going to turn around and do the one right there, right? Oh, I'm on 1x. Awesome. That's why it felt slow. So yeah, that's about it. And then just know what loot you're looking for. I usually try to save a Silk Touch tool if I get one, which you usually will. But Silk Touch Axe is just crazy if you need to enchant a Trident again. Like if you don't first enchant channeling, you don't get a book or whatnot. First enchant channeling is the meta. Or not the meta. Sorry, what am I saying? Like having to re-enchant is like meta, I guess. So having a Silk Touch Axe is good because you don't have to recraft the bookshelves and it breaks them fast. So yeah. Then once you loot your initial end city, what I try to do is I leave on at least 3 elytras unless I have mending. If I have mending, then I can leave on 2. But I like to leave on 3 elytras at least. Have most of my gear like diamond wise, iron for like anvil and stuff. Have like at least a stack of obby from like the ender chests, and then have good shulker transport. So I found this, obviously like I don't have enough loot to leave. I only have 2 elytras. I don't have a lot of obsidian, but I found good shulker transport. So I do that here just because, and I always like to do the shulker transport with the dude on top of the ship, but you can also just do it with any guy, right? Like as long as there's just open airspace above him, you can do it with any guy and it's fine. And then this is just, I'm not going to explain the strat. You can look up guide videos on Shulker if you don't know the strat. I do it in my head, just good with the 60% math. Usually get pretty close. Like here I was 2 blocks away or whatever. And then just a simple like second yeet up. Very basic, right? Because like I said, I think doing Shulker transport on the first end is like correct. I don't like segmenting it, so I just do it here. And then because I did it like not on my last city, I just do it there, and then I ended up just exploring another part of the end. And there's no trick to finding end cities. There's not a trick that you need to learn. If you're playing on 32RD, just go and then find them. Like, there's no secret. If you're not playing on 32RD, then the whole run is just an entire struggle, so you're just struggling everywhere. And then you can maybe learn end city regions, but on 32RD, you just fly till you find one. So that's what I did. And then this is my third Elytra. I don't know if I leave or not off this city. Maybe I do. We'll see. I don't actually know. But yeah. I played 2 Shulker boxes. If you're new, 3 is not that much of a time loss. It's just 2 works. I know what I need for 2. I think if you're trying to push for like sub 4, you should go for 2 only. Just because it sort of forces you to like play better in a way, because you need to be more careful about what you're getting. Oh yeah, and I did Great View here, right? Yeah, like I said, I never boat the Shulkers. I just randomly got hit by one, just popped the Great View, you know? So you can like sort of burn like a shitty thing, a shitty hit. And that's why I kept the Coarse Fruit. If I had a pearl, I would have done it. I have no pearls in this run because I got rolled on that treasure, like 30 gold blocks, 20 pearls or whatnot. So usually, like, I leave with multiple stacks of pearls, so it's not a big deal. If I miss her, whatnot. So here, again, like I said, you just loot top down, get a good mental picture. And here I'm trying to leave, so I'm overlapping the Pyre for the gateway with just, like, chests or whatnot. Oh yeah, and then I forgot I needed another Shulker shell. Awesome. So yeah, I always leave on 2. I only really kill the dudes in the ship, and then if I need to kill more guys, you kind of just like find them around. Like you can just find these guys out in the open, on the sides of buildings and stuff. I got rolled in this run. God, I got rolled. Well, happens. Got the shell. Oh, I found one more city when I was leaving. Okay, but yeah, basically I'm just leaving here. And then this is the main Shulker Yeet. Obviously, I recommend doing this. I'm not going to teach the strat. If you've watched me enough, you basically know how it works. You can look up a guide or join the AA Discord, and they'll happily link guide videos. But this is that. If I have a looting sword here, what I'll do is get pearls. Otherwise, I do it at the end of the run. So in this run, I ended up doing it at the very end for Endermite, right? But if you have enough pearls, you don't have to. If you have a looting sword, I would recommend doing it. Otherwise, it's just not worth your time, because you'll have a looting sword at the end of the run, and it'll be faster. Here, I like to do organization overlapped with like the Shulker Yeet process itself. Like, as the Shulker's flying in the air, I organize both my Shulkers, so I craft like all the things I need. I put them in the spots that I'm used to. And if you've watched me a lot, you know where things go in my Shulkers, or like kind of how I organize them. But I like having one Shulker that's a lot of like important sort of rare endgame type things. So like all the ores, it'll be like Nautilus shells, monument blocks, name tag, trident, obsidian, TNT, things like that. And then the other one is sort of the regular like BS. Potion stuff, bow, arrows, potions, spare elytras, spare food, spare just like string, bones, stuff like that. So yeah, now I'm out. In basically every run, you're gonna have to enchant. Enchant skip, I don't like doing. I don't like saving first enchant channeling, because it's very just like slow to not have an enchanted axe or an enchanted hoe. It's pretty situational. I basically always like to enchant. So the first thing I do when I come out is I always look for Lapis, and I do clay, Lapis, in a river. So find the start, And I don't really know, like, you just kind of have to learn like what these clay patches look like. Like this one, the center is where I'm standing because you can see like how it's the big circle one. Obviously it's not like fully there because the sand kind of gets in the way, but I can tell that this is the center, and then it's just +7. And that'll work 90% of the time. If it doesn't, what I do is I just look for diamonds in the same like line and then use the diamonds to find lapis, or I just mine sideways. But it basically works most of the time. Let's see, it didn't work here. Oh, so this is a good example. So yeah, so I go to Y11 if it whiffs, means there's a different offset. I dig sideways until the chunk borders, and I try to find the diamonds in the chunk, because if I find the diamonds, then I can find the lapis. Oh no, here I'm just digging on another offset. Maybe I'm being stupid here. Yeah, I think I was being dumb there. And I didn't. Okay, so I'm totally wrong. Sometimes I mess around with that. I guess I just decided to find another offset. But sometimes I try to mess around with the diamonds at the bottom. It depends. Finding another thing is obviously just slower, but sometimes you have to do it. And yeah, I guess I just got rolled in the first one that it like didn't generate or whatever. Because like 90% of the time it's gonna be that one offset. So then you get the lapis. You have to get the bookshelves. If you didn't start in like a savannah village or like blowed up like dark oak houses or dark oak trees or whatever, you're not gonna have enough wood. So I always craft a gold axe for my like early game sort of prep, and then get wood there. And here I'm just crafting what I need to enchant. I do this enchanting setup. It's a like my, I don't know if I made it or like Fire made it or something, but it's just a simple way to bookshelf block. And then I just look for the enchants that I need, right? Like hoe, axe, bow, crossbow, armor if it's bad. Like depth strider's a guaranteed must. One helmet enchant is good. Having both is way better. I think Aqua Affinity is slightly better than Respiration, but having Respiration is good too. But you need at least one. And then obviously looting 3, smite, unbreaking on your Elytra. If you're watching this tutorial, I'm assuming you don't go for mending consistently. But if you do, then I guess do that. But my hope is that if you watch this tutorial and you learn something, then your runs will get fast enough to the point where you don't need to go for mending. So I actually won't give any advice on that. I just think you shouldn't go for mending, and you should just go for unbreaking. There, I ripped Silk Touch on the axe. This is great, so I get to pick it up again. But here I'm just enchant cycling. Looking for, like, unbreaking on the book, depth strider on the boots, looting on the sword, stuff like that, you know? Just total enchant cycling. That's basically it. And then just anvil. You always want to try to save as many levels as possible if you don't have a channeling book, because you're gonna have to enchant for channeling again. Like in this run, I either get a book or I have to enchant for it again. Because rolling it off of villager trades is pretty slow. Oh yeah, here, and I messed up. I didn't enchant my hoe, so it was not insta break. But yeah, here I'm just doing the early game prep stuff, like getting all the base enchants. I'm assuming, like I said, that you have like a base understanding of what those enchants are in a run. But I said them anyways. And then at this time, this is what I'd consider like the start of the mid game, where it's like you start actually working on the run. Like your early game was kind of the prep, enchanting was the prep. Now you're kind of just working on the run. So the first thing I always try to do is find an ocean for fish. In basically every run I try to do that, because then you're gonna want to start the run in your spawn desert, getting temples and villages. Because if you start your run in the ocean, looking around for like a mushroom island or things like that, you're gonna run out of rockets, right? So you need to front load the rockets off of the Temples in your spawn desert and the village. So that's what I try to do. I'm looking for an ocean. But I saw this mesa. I decided to just do it. I have 50 rockets because I high rolled like temples off spawn. Some runs you'll have 5 rockets right now, and then you need to focus temples more, right? It's unfortunate that I didn't get an ocean close here, but it's not really a big deal. Yeah, this is Mesa. Mesa's really fucking easy. You need to find Badlands Plateau. That's the only like mini biome that you kind of get rolled on. And the way I look for that is I just try to find these flat areas that are as far away from trees as possible. And occasionally like separated too. Like this flat area right here on my mouse, this is going to be wooded because there's trees on the same landmass. But you want to find one that's pretty far away, right? But again, it's still just fucked sometimes. Like, how is this a wooded plateau? There's no trees there. And then right here now it's Badlands, right? So ends up being random. But the way that I try to find Badlands Plateau, and I haven't gotten rolled on it, I think in like over 3 months, is just find these big areas away from trees as far as possible. So this whole area to the left also should be Badlands Plateau, right? Like this little mini island should be, because it's segmented off too by the river. So yeah. And then obviously the other two are easy as shit. Like the trees are just wooded and Badlands is just everything that's not a plateau. And then it's just up to looking for a cave spider spawner. 95% of the time you can just find a ton of like spider webs outside. Like right here I did. Alright, and then that's just the spawner. If it's nighttime, they'll just spawn. If it's daytime, you have to block it up. I think I hear a spider, so I was trying to find where I heard it. So yeah, it just spawned underneath there. But yeah, basically always you can find that, like just a spawner around. Because it's all surrounded by like a ton of string, cobwebs, whatever. If you can't, then just run around in the mine shafts till you find it. You should always get cave spider done at the mesa that you find, because otherwise you're not going to get it done later, and it's going to lead to time loss. Oh, here I was being stupid. I wanted to do Arbalistic because there were 4 things there, but I didn't have leads yet because I was flying around before 50 minutes. So I was just being stupid. Ocean biome, warm ocean. You just have to make sure to hit all the ocean biomes, right? And the 2 rare ones are going to be warm ocean and frozen oceans. You just have to make sure to go in those. I always like pausing updates the tracker, right? So I always just get in the biome and then pause, make sure I have it. And then in warm ocean specifically, just make sure tropical fish and then 2 puffer fish. I just do it while I'm here. Like I said, the big theory for getting fast runs is do a lot of like small BS early, because if you get into the end game portion of the run and then have to do a lot of things, like small things here and there, like rabbit stew, pumpkin pie, dried kelp, you forgot to get the heart of the sea, forgot to breed rabbits, right? Like you're flying around, bouncing around, it all adds up. You should just do small things when you run into them. That's the whole theory to getting fast overlap and fast runs. So doing things while you're there instead of putting them off. So like warm ocean, pufferfish, I'm here, right? I do them. I don't care that it takes a little bit of time. I get rolled, like whatever. I do them. You just find fish, find 2. So what am I doing now? Drowns? Cool. Yeah. So here's where I finally get fish. That's what I was actually doing, yeah. Because you can't get fish consistently in a warm ocean. I always just get cod because it's what spawns in regular oceans. So yeah, usually most seeds have close ocean to your spawn. Obviously this one didn't. Like I'm pretty far away, so it's kind of unlucky. But I always just get fish. Again, another example of just doing things when you see them. Like I was flying towards this frozen ocean. I saw the frozen ocean, fly to it because I want to do it. On the way, I see turtles. I just do them. They're on me, right? Like, why not do the turtles while you're on them? Because otherwise you're going to be 3 hours into the run. Need turtles. You got to go scramble, go a few hundred blocks out. It's just small time loss that adds up. Get some milk buckets. I don't like 2RDing because it looks ugly from a just like spectating perspective and like RTA, and you can't see shit. I just try to not get donged. And here again, like I'm front loading food. Like I saw 2 salmon there. I'm just gonna get them. I'm gonna get 1 cooked with the fire aspect sword. I'm gonna get 1 raw. I'm gonna do it, right? I'm gonna eat the food so I don't have to lose time on it later. It's just gonna happen, right? Ideally, I try to not eat any bread for like the first half an hour that I'm out of the like starting the mid game, because you can just do all the mob foods, small things. Like I already had smelted and eaten dried kelp like a minute ago. Just always like do things early, and then you won't lose time because you forgot them later. That's basically the idea. So here, I checked the frozen ocean. I'm pausing to get an update on the tracker so I know, because the game will only check what biome you're in once every second. So if you like skim in and out of a biome, you can miss that check. So I always pause to make sure. I had a bucket of cod there because I was trying to do arbalistic, but I realized I didn't have leads because I'm stupid. And then here, what I do, your inventory, like I said, do things early, right? So in this run, I'm doing a lot of foods early. But because I'm doing the foods early, like they fill up your inventory, so I'm purposely taking fall damage in these temples so that I can eat the foods faster, you know? Just so it clears up inventory space. It's a little risky. If you get dropped on by a creeper, you'll just die, like guaranteed if you're on like 5 hearts at the bottom. Otherwise, I just take the risk. I've never died to a creeper while doing it. So yeah, again, doing things early, right? Like I see a plains village here, I get the crops. So I have carrots early for pigs. I have seeds early. I have potatoes early to eat. Like I'm overlapping these things here. Do them early rather than later so that you don't have to lose time, right? Always do cats, just like the first village, you have 2 unique cats, just breed them. With the fish you got, like I said, I usually try to get like 40 fish as a good, like, get fish once, never have to get them again. You usually won't get rolled on 40 fish. And it's just like a minute in a ocean. But this is the juice of the mid game of the run. The entire mid game is desert and ocean. Obviously, if you find a rare biome, you have to spend time in it. And you have to go into like plains to like do arbalistic and breed mobs and stuff. But your entire run should be desert and ocean, because it goes with the theory of doing the most things at once as fast as possible. When you're in a desert, right? You're looking for a mesa, you're looking for a jungle, you're getting a temple, so you're looking for a notch. You're getting gunpowder, so you can, you know, still fly around and like do the run. You're getting TNT for debris. You're getting potentially a channeling book or like books that you need, right? That's your desert overlap. And you're getting villages for the cats that you need. And then your ocean overlap is shells and trident, right? The 2 other, like these big goals here, right? You're overlapping shells and trident. Mushroom Island exploration. Gold from monuments. Other just biomes in general, right? Like most big biomes, rare biomes are gonna be coastal at some point, right? Like it's very rare to get an entirely landlocked mesa or an entirely landlocked mega taiga or an entirely landlocked snow tundra biome, right? So exploring ocean and desert gives you potential. Was that a channeling book? Yeah, I was channeling. Cool. Yeah, so this temple was sick, notch and channeling, right? And that, I mean, that's why deserts are crazy, right? Like that's the point. Is you just hit the nuts. So what what have I actually done in this overworld so far? I've done desert and I've done ocean. Like I did ocean for a little bit at the start. I got a couple shells, but I've mainly been in desert, right? Because you're front loading the notch, you're getting the cats done. And I'm just going where the train takes me. I'm trying to find more desert, trying to find more temples, get more cats done. I think I actually mess up this run. Usually on this night cycle, this 50-minute to 1 hour night cycle, you should try to get slimes. If not, you have one more night cycle at like 1:10, an hour 10 to an hour 20 to get slimes, but you can't get them at an hour 30 to an hour 40 because of new moon. So that sort of just botches the whole like fast pace, because then if you find a jungle, you have to like finagle the ocelots. You can't do foxes if you see them. It's hard to do arbalistic. So getting slimes, like again, the point of getting things early so you have them and you don't have to waste time bouncing around a lot later. I always try to do slimes early. Here, I didn't. I messed up. I mean, it's not necessarily wrong. Like getting slimes at 110 is fine. The only way that I really get punished is if I find a jungle, like, in the next 5 minutes, and then I can't, do anything, because I have to wait for the ocelots, right? Or, like, I have to fuck around with ocelots. But it's like I was doing things, right? Like, I was adventuring in the desert, I was getting temples, I was doing villages, so it's not wrong, and I can still get them at 110. But I need to get slimes at 110, right? And here, again, just doing things early, getting the poisonous potato an hour in so I don't have to scramble for it. I'm doing all of this stuff now because if you saw here, there's a snow biome, right? Need to kill a stray in the snow biome, but you can only kill it during nighttime, right? They don't spawn during the day. You can't spawn them in caves. They need exposed sunlight. So I need to be able to stall for 11 minutes until I can get a stray, right? So I start looking for things that I can do now, an hour into the run, that'll stall me for 11 minutes. Because Zombie Doctor is going to stall a little bit of time, right? I can spend a little bit of more time in this desert, in this ocean, but I'm trying to find things to do to where I can kill this stray and not just have to sit around in the snow biome for a while. So yeah, doing buried treasure. I might try to get a rabbit's foot here would be a good idea. Going around this ocean, maybe doing beetroots, obviously more cats, like here, you know. We'll see what I end up doing. I don't really fully remember, but yeah. Getting some food, like maybe you look for horse, donkey, mule here because you're near the plains, right? Still keeping that desert ocean vibe, right? You have to be in this biome. Like you can't do desert ocean obviously because you have to do shit in the snow biome, but I'm still around the ocean, around the desert. I'm just doing things that are here convenient on the way. So just more cats again, more food. Getting hay bales early is good, again, because if you run into like horse, donkey, mule at a convenient time, you want to be able to do them and not be able to put them off. You want to be able to do llamas. You want to be able to breed things. So like, I honestly should have gotten them earlier, but it didn't end up being a big deal. But usually off of like your first village, you should get them. Again, a more early game overlap, getting the smoker for rabbit stew so I don't have to do it 3 hours into the run. So yeah, I'm just looking for things to do here. This is a little bit of an awkward spot because, again, I have to stall time for like basically 10, 11 minutes. So I'm just trying to find all these small things I can do early that I don't have to do later. Again, looking for cats. I think I'm going to try to find an igloo in a little bit here. Hiring for igloo is the best. I just found, okay, this didn't have anything in it. Obviously, you can just see them, but they're hard to see because it's white on white. I guess I just found 2 in this run. Usually I pyrite for them. It gets a little fucky if there's brewing stands and villages nearby, but usually it just works really well. Here, just finding more things overlap. Bullseye. Bullseye's a big one for Zombie Doctor. Zombie Doctor is the big overlap test, right? Like, what can you crank out in 5 minutes where you have to just sit here? In runs where I have pearls, I like to do Endermite. Bullseye's a very obvious one. Snow biomes have rabbits. You can breed rabbits. You can get rabbit stew from villages nearby. You can get rabbit's foot. I'm doing beetroot here because you can obviously just do that at any time. And I'm getting more carrots so that I have them for horse, donkey, mule. Golden carrots for breeding. Just finding all these small things to do. And I've done this run, like Zombie Doctor part of the run, maybe 50 times in runs. So I've been in every type of situation. Like, what gear do I have? Like, I've done wither overlap during Zombie Doctor before. Killed the wither while the guy was curing because I found the snow late and I did skulls early. So you find all these overlap things to do, but a general good like list was what I said there earlier, like just foods, endermites, rabbits. As you can see there, I was flying around this snowy taiga to try and get snowy taiga and snowy taiga hills, just trying to knock out all the biomes because you usually have to keep the guy loaded. Like, what are you going to do? Just do things that require you to be in the vicinity, or don't require like any specific area at all. So here again, just rabbit's foot, like I said. Rabbit breeding. Got kind of lucky here. I didn't have leads. Usually I breed them with leads, but they were just too close. And I had carrots early, right? Like I had carrots within the hour, so I give myself the opportunity to do the rabbits, right? Because I got the carrots early. Like it's very easy to just space out, forget to get carrots, and then, you know, what do you end up doing, right? Like if you don't get beetroot seeds, like what do you end up doing here? Like I get all this stuff early so that I'm in the position to overlap when the Zombie Doctor happens. And then bam, there I got it. I wonder if I even notice I got it. Sometimes I don't notice. But yeah, cranked out a lot of stuff there in those 4 minutes. Lots of foods, did my rabbits. And now just more exploration. Here I noticed that I need to get slimes at 110. I noticed that this ocean's pretty iffy. But again, I still have to wait a few more minutes to get this stray. So I'm finding things to do, right? Like maybe pumpkin pie out of this village. Maybe I try to find some foxes. Maybe I get the wolves in this taiga, right? I'm finding things to do because I need to stall for 10 minutes. Very unlucky and like oddball situation, by the way, because I rolled up on the snow biome as it was turning to daytime. Usually you don't have to find this much stuff to overlap. I was making it work. I was trying to. Horses. Did I see donkeys somewhere maybe? Or maybe I was just doing horses only. Who knows? I think, yeah, I was just doing horses only. You just gotta find stuff to do, right? Like I have the wheat to do it because I got the wheat earlier. I have the carrots, the golden carrots to do it because I got them earlier. Putting myself in the situation to be able to overlap as many things as possible. So like horses were convenient, did the horses, right? Here I think I'm looking for donkeys. Maybe I pyrite for them here. Yeah, this I like to pyrite for donkeys if I can't see them. They're a bitch to see sometimes. Found a beehive. Beehives are always also just good to keep a lookout on. If not, I like going into flower forests to find them. I always play 2 beehives with making sure that one of them is like total bee location when I pick it up. Because obviously you don't know how many bees are in a beehive when you pick them up. But getting total bee location means that you're not really going to get screwed. If I get 2 beehives and neither of them give me that total bee location advancement, I try to find a 3rd one. They are literally just more overlap. And now it's nighttime. I can finally head back to the thing. But notice here too, like I find this mega taiga, get the mega taiga hills. I see a birch forest here. Very, again, an easy thing to overlook. But it's just doing things while they're convenient, doing things early, right? Like you don't want to be 3-4 hours into a run for getting Birch Forest Hills or Taiga Hills or something. So I'm going here while it's convenient, while I'm close, finding Birch Forest Hills. So I don't lose the time later. It's nailing down the thought that like doing things early is not a time loss. Because you have to do them later anyways. So doing things early is fine. And it makes it so that you don't have to scramble around later if you miss them. Like if you see something that you have to do, just do it. And it's obviously hard to figure out things to do and like get the headspace on everything all at once just because there's a lot of things. But it's just the more you play, the more you realize what things have to get done when. You'll get better at overlapping. Here I think I paused. I think I didn't have enough hay to like grow up this donkey or something. Yeah, I grew it up with sugar. That was stupid. So yeah, I trolled a little bit by not getting enough wheat. But yeah, so I did troll a little bit, I guess. Could have done a better job of getting things earlier, right? Because then I don't have to scuff around here. Like I have to manually tame this horse. I can't insta tame it with the 33 wheat because I don't have wheat. Because I messed up and didn't get enough, you know? And there's no excuse, right? Like I got so many villages at the start of the run, I just didn't get them like head space out, right? And so I ended up taking the time loss later because I didn't want to do it earlier. I forgot or whatnot. Again, the point, doing things early is good because then you have stuff for when you run into convenient things or convenient things later. And then Stray managed to find things to overlap for 10, 15 minutes or whatever, get the Stray. And then I'm done with Snow. So I'm done with Snow, I'm done with Mesa, done with Mega Taiga. The thing that's lacking the most comparatively on this pace right now is ocean things, right? I don't have a Mushroom Island. I don't have a ton of gold. I don't have a trident. I have 2 shells. So I should be focusing ocean more than desert. I have the notch in the desert, right? I don't need that anymore. I have 3 cats I still have to get, so I still need to spend a little more time in the desert. And obviously, I don't have enough gunpowder for the entire run. An hour and 15 minutes in. But I can focus more on ocean now, right? Choosing between desert and ocean, I'll choose ocean. Just because it's what's more lacking, and it's also literally what I'm in, right? Like it's not like I have the choice really. It just kind of works out that way. But if I had the choice, I would choose ocean because it's what I'm lacking in more, right? And if I want to rip a trident, if it rains soon, I should try to do that, right? Because missing thunder obviously kills the run or lowers the chances that it's successful, especially because I have the channeling book. Getting a trident early is good. Now I will say I don't try to force tridents at all. I don't try to force it when it's happening because forcing things leads to time loss. Was this a 0 durability trident in this run? That's kind of screwed up. But like forcing a trident or whatnot leads to time loss. So I get it when it's convenient. But I make sure to like do it when it's convenient too, you know? Oh, I can throw it. Okay, never mind. I don't need a second one. Couldn't see on 2x. Found my first mining of the run. Wrote the chords down. Garbage chords. But you have to remember to do this. You'll lose dozens of minutes or whatever. Like if you forget where your monument or where your outpost is, you should always write down the chords of the first one because you need it for the end game, right? In an ideal seed, obviously, there's just one near spawn, but this seed that I played, I was in the middle of a continent. I didn't have an ocean close, so I have to write down the chords. And then monuments, obviously, you know how to play monuments. I kill Elder Guardian and Guardian basically whenever I feel like it. Usually I try to do it in the first few monuments, but sometimes I forget. Oh, here I almost whiffed on slime. Did I get slime here? Oh, did I whiff? Damn, I was even talking about it too. It's crazy that I got slimes at 150 in this run. Already a big misplay. Very weird. Definitely a misplay. Getting slimes at at the 50-minute night or the 110 night is basically like crucial. Like I don't really know why I whiffed there. But now ocean runs out. I go into the desert, right? It's ocean and desert because you need the cats, need gunpowder, need the debris or the TNT for debris. That's the biggest part of the overworld. Ocean and desert. Again, the things I've been talking about. Ocean, desert, get things early so you don't lose time not having them later. Like this run, I might lose time to not having leads. I don't know. We'll see when I get to the jungle. Witch hut. Obviously, I get this when it's convenient, right? Like I'm in the desert. I see a big swamp. I'll face check the swamp, right? Like maybe there's a witch hut, right? I'm close to the desert. I can go back to the desert, right? If I whiff, I just go back. Now find some ocean, right? Not the best quality ocean. This is sort of like a high level thing. But you can sort of tell when oceans are good or bad. Obviously, visually, good oceans, like this entire screen would be ocean. Here is bad because it's like pretty choked out. Like you're not really gonna find a mushroom island here. There's not gonna be as many drowns. There's not gonna be as many monuments. Just because there's a lot of like forest around, stone shore around. It's hard to like tell. You just kind of have to learn Minecraft's like terrain gen the more you play. I don't really know how to explain it. But this is sort of a bad ocean. I shouldn't really be here. And hopefully old Feinberg will blind out or go somewhere else eventually. Or it led into some good ocean potentially here. It's not necessarily wrong to stay in bad oceans. It's just like on average less useful because there's just going to be less things. There's just less space for a mushroom island to generate. There's less space for drowns, less space for monuments. But it's not bad. Like you can still get them if you're traveling. Because you do have like a finite amount of obby to use to blind travel. Like it's not you can't always just hop around everywhere. You kind of have to be smart with when you choose to do it. So here, I'd expect to see me blind out soon. Maybe I'd force this plains a little bit and it leads to a desert, but is that what happens? Yeah. So I end up just going into the plains. Maybe I'm looking for bees, maybe I'm looking for wolves, and then it heads up into a desert. Obviously, this is lucky. Like I said, it doesn't really fit with the desert ocean theme, but I guarantee you if I whiffed on like finding the desert here, I would have just blind traveled out and then tried to find desert or ocean. Because those are the two biomes that matter in the run. Everything else you should do, like I said, when it's convenient, when you're next to it, when you see it, stuff like that. But I found desert, so I'm in desert, which is good. Either in desert or in ocean is good. Even though I have the notch, I don't have all the cats, don't have all my gunpowder I'm going to need, don't have all my debris I'm going to need, or a TNT for debris, sorry. Now I have all my cats. Pretty fast, 124. Not bad. I tend to get cats faster than I get ocean stuff just because front loading desert is slightly better than like front loading ocean because you just won't run out of rockets, right? If you always have more gunpowder, you'll never run out of rockets. But if you spend too long in the ocean, you can end up running out of rockets. So I always try to do that first. Desert over ocean. Just tend to. Like I said, you don't really usually get a choice. But when I do get the choice, it is desert over ocean. Just because having rockets is better than not having rockets. And if you have a lot of gunpowder to front load, then you won't run out of rockets when you're in big oceans for long periods of time. So here, it's like, this is sort of like the shitty ocean area. I'm kind of sort of sticking to more desert. Maybe the ocean gets good, maybe it doesn't, we'll see. Again, shells, trident in the ocean, mushroom island in the ocean, biomes in the ocean, stuff like that. That's basically what we're doing. And again, looking for things to do on the way. Basically just temples at this point though. Like I'm done with villages because I have all my cats. Not really ever gonna be done with temples though. Just because, well, until like nearing the end of the run, like 2.5 hours in, I kind of get done with temples. But right now, like I don't have enough gunpowder. I don't have enough TNT still. Get the quick milk bucket refill because I noticed I'm close to an ocean, and I mean they're just there. It's convenient. It's like, why not? Again, you can 2RD monuments and have that work. But I don't like to. And then getting paper when it's convenient. And I guess here I decided that the ocean around looks like bad ocean. The desert kind of runs out. I'll go and do nether stuff. Also, it's a good time to do it because it's night coming up. And it's the bad night. So I can't get slimes. I could get phantoms, but I tend to like to do phantoms later. Kind of bit me in the ass in this run, but phantoms have higher chance of spawning the later into the run you are, so it's easier to get them later. And then breeding like foxes and wolves and ocelots, you have to do that during the day. That's really hard to do at night just because mobs get in the way. It's harder to find them, stuff like that. So here I'm just heading in the nether. And then the nether is used as like a vessel to transport yourself in the overworld. That's a stupid statement. We're gonna break out the paint. I'll explain what we're sort of talking about. So let's say this is your spawn, all right? Where's brush size? Let's say this is spawn, all right? And then in the overworld, you end up traveling like this, right? Or whatever. Like this is where you go, and then you run out of area right here, whatever this is, right? You always want to try to travel out, right? The biggest like mistake that a lot of people try to make is backtracking, right? You never want to do something like this, right? Because you're losing time here. You always want to try to keep going out. So see my chords right here when I'm out. 2k negative 700 in the nether. That's like 16k in the overworld, you know? And then when you're in the nether, the way that I like figure out where I'm going is I find the bigger coordinate, right? So in this case, the bigger coordinate here is my X. So then what I do is I just choose a direction on the smaller coordinate and just go that way. So what that ends up translating to, looking like in the overworld, is in the nether, I end up either doing this or this. And that gets you perpendicularly away from where you were going. So if you go in the nether like this and then pop out in the overworld like this, it doesn't matter where you go. Oh, no paint. Fuck. Like going perpendicular in the nether, if you go like this, right? Let's say you do this in the nether, which is what I try to do. And then pop out here. In the overworld, this is basically like a new overworld. Like, because ideally, this is like 5,000 blocks or whatever. So this is like an entirely new overworld. Could have new biomes, could have new shit or whatever, right? So if you make sure you go perpendicular, you don't have to worry about overlapping yourself. You can go this way and it's fine. 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 You gave yourself enough space out to where the overlap doesn't matter. But if you end up going like this in the nether, right? Like you're in new overworld still, right? Like this is new overworld. But if it ends up going well and takes you this way, then you're overlapping, right? If these ways are bad and you have to end up going this way, you don't have a lot of terrain. You wasted your obby instead of going this way, right? So we'll see where I go. But I'm willing to bet I either go positive or negative Z, just away. And then when you're in the Nether, you obviously have to do the Nether things. There's 2 like portal related ones that you need to do while you're going into the overworld with portals. So you need to do Uneasy Alliance and Zoglin. So overlapping those is good. Just finding like when you're leaving the Nether, trying to leave with one of those 2 is good. And then obviously find bastions. I tend to not really E-ray for them. What I'll do if I do E-ray is I'll lower my RD to like 20, so it's very easy to see the spike. Because if your RD's on 32, you have like 500 enemies. You have no fucking idea where the bastions are. And then if I find a good fort, I'll just do the skulls, right? Regardless of like what's happening, what time it is, we're in the overworld. So let's see what happens in this Nether. I don't know. Bastion. Stables? I hate stables. I don't fuck around with stables. I think I ended up just maybe getting gold here because I'm short on gold. Nope. I double bad. Didn't even fuck with it. Stables is just the ugliest bastion for AA. It's just ugly to get into. It's ugly to get out of or whatever. Like, it's whatever. Now, I'm just exploring. I don't really see where I'm going on my chords, but presumably it's either in the Z positive or Z negative. And here I'm looking for a good fort. Maybe I force this one? Yeah, it's pretty lava-y, right? Decent fort. Potentially. Have 3 fire res, it's enough. Yeah, this fort looks fine. Right? Like, you don't want to, like, get a god fort. Obviously, god forts are crazy, but if you have a fort that just works, just do it, you know? Yeah, like, part of this is SSV, right? Like, it's not the best, but it'll work. And I'm just cranking it out, right? Like, just why not? Because you're there. It's convenient. You do it early, so you don't have to do it later. And then again, like, I get potion material here, and then the soul sand for wither. I get it now, so I don't have to get it later, right? So I don't have to, like, go back in the Nether for Nether ward or go back for soul sand or something. Like, you just get it while you're at the fort because it's convenient. So you have to do it later. But yeah, it's just 5 RD. If you need to, like, respawn mobs, then just do that. And respawning mobs, you just go, like, here. 128 blocks out, despawns everything. Go back in. It'll respawn a fresh new set of mobs on the fort. So there's, like, 4 wither skellies there. There's more all around. Right? Best way to do it. Or if you end up getting, like, a lot of blazes or whatnot. And that's the skulls. Like, it's pretty simple. You just do them when they're convenient. Like, you shouldn't be flying around for a good fort and then whiff. And then, like, not do it because you're worried about missing something or worried. You just do it while you're there. And then, what are these chords? 2300, 1500? Let's about the pan out. Let's say, yeah, let's say this is where I went in the run. This was like, what? I was like 1900, negative 600. This is 1900, negative 600. Where'd I go? I went 2370, negative 1500. So I went like here, right? Basically perpendicular. It's farther out, which obviously will always give you more world to explore. But the only issue is if you go like super far out, you have to come back at the very end, right? Like, you have to come back to spawn when you're done with everything. So if you go too far out, it ends up being a little bit of a time loss. I like to stay within like roughly 2000, roughly 2500, like sort of box around world spawn in the Nether. So this was like a little far out, but not too bad. But I give myself like all this open world, right? It doesn't matter which way I go out. That's a great drawing. It doesn't matter which way I start exploring because it'll all be new, right? I'm far out. There's no overlap. Now I'm just looking. If I don't see desert or ocean, I'm out, you know? This is ocean. Could be a bad ocean, could be a good one. I'll just check it at least, right? Like it's kind of hard to tell without getting a lot of detail, but ends up being a pretty good ocean. You can see good ocean is sort of like all these small islands everywhere. Good ocean is like the type of ocean that you play in RSG. Is like a good ocean, right? Like those juicy islands that you spawn on. It's just ocean all directions. Like the juicy 115 seeds, man. Like that's good ocean. This is good ocean. And then it's just monument, drowned, you know? Basic stuff. Again, desert or ocean? I'm in the ocean, right? And then I always have hitboxes on. I basically check every drown spot, regardless of how many there are. Just because they can always have one, you know? So again, this is just basic ocean stuff, you know what I mean? Like I'm trying to not, it's kind of hard to see, I guess, like, cause I'm playing on 2x, but I'm not trying to backtrack in the ocean either, right? Like I'm going in one direction, just like out, getting monuments and getting drowns on the way when I see them, like going out of my way for them, but I'm trying to go in one direction. It's sort of just a skill that you'll build up more by playing, but like getting the spatial awareness to like not backtrack yourself is pretty big. Just to make sure you're always loading new ocean chunks, right? New ruins, new monuments, new chunks for Mushroom Island potentially. And it's just like always having a good grasp of like the terrain around you, knowing where you're going, stuff like that. And it doesn't get hard. Like if there's a lot of things like in like a big sort of area or a big circle, you end up having to backtrack a little bit. So it's hard to like not fall in that trap of backtracking all the time. And I got a second try in this run, I guess. I didn't see what the durability was. Maybe it was like 2 or something and I just didn't want to miss. I guess that's a little bit of time lost, like killing the extra trident guys. Not a big deal. Now it's just checking for shell dudes, last 3. Still looking for Mushroom Island, still learning new chunks. That's why Ocean's so important too. Mushroom Island is just rare. Only generates an ocean, only generates like... They rarely generate coastal. They're not like supposed to generate next to other biomes, like on the coast of things. So they basically only spawn in like good oceans. So again, another important reason why you need to be in good oceans, along with shells, gold, trident. Like usually I just never have a problem with gold if you hit all the monuments that you see. You only need 21 monuments. In this like 10-minute segment here, 5-minute segment, I've already gotten like 6 monuments probably. Plus Bastion gold around, right? Like it adds up and it goes quicker than you think. Just making sure to hit everything early so you don't have to waste the time on it later. Looking on planes here. Maybe I refill milk. Maybe I'm looking for mobs to breed. Stuff like that. But I realize, let's see, this is another good example, right? Like I realize ocean turns bad, right? Like there's still ocean chunks here, right? But you don't want to get baited. Stone shore to the right, forest to the left. It's not going to be the juice ocean that we had earlier, right? Like it's pretty shit. So I find an overlap here, going back in the nether, not using a ton of obby, I find the overlap. And again, I'm just going to choose a direction and go. Out. Perpendicular. New, find like new world. And then here's what I said, 20 RD, E-Ray. Bastions are important because they give obby, right? So you can keep blind traveling. Obviously gold. Obviously you need lodestone from bridge. Treasure bastions, netherite ingot are good. Right? Gold from every bastion is good too. So when I'm in the nether, I try to go towards bastions while I'm like going perpendicular. I don't go super out of my way for them. Like here, you can see there's a stables on the left here that I just don't fucking go to because stables, like I said, is just annoying to loot, annoying to get chests and everything. But I hit that bridge. You wait for the bridge. Hit the gold. 10 bridges is all your gold. Obviously, you're not going to hit 10 bridge bastions in a run, but like it's 1/10 of your gold right there as a chalice. Like that's pretty impactful. And then here, get hot tourist, right? I get the warp forest. Always get 3 dudes ASAP. Like do your striders ASAP. Don't forget to get stuff. Like get it early so you don't have to do it later. A lot of people space out, like just get hot tourist, don't get these warp stems, and then like if there's not a warp forest close to your home portal, you end up wasting a couple minutes trying to find them, right? So just do things early so you don't have to do them later. I know I've said that a lot, but it really just is like how it works, right? End up just doing lodestone here because it frees up some inventory space, right? Like it's not really, can't really overlap it with much, right? Because you kind of just have to menu and craft stuff and things like that. Yeah, I find 3 striders kind of close to each other and just rip it out. Again, do it early so you don't have to do it later. And then I've went like a few hundred blocks in the nether, see a ghast, have to do one of my 2 like portal things, so I end up just doing uneasy here. You know, you have to just do it at some point. This looks scuffed. This looks scuffed. I guess it works. Yeah, you can watch tutorial videos for this. You can watch my runs for how I do it. I barely ever mess it up. Pretty easy if you just know the timing. Again, this isn't like a mechanics guide video. It's more of like a thought process guide video. So I'm doing uneasy here because it's just, I'm getting new chunks. Like I've been far enough out. Like if we pump out the paint drawing, I don't really know what my chords are. I'd imagine, I think I did this in the nether. But maybe not. I either did like that or like this. One of the two. But either way, like loading newer chunks so that I can explore in whatever direction and have it not be an issue. I think I'm trying to look for pumpkin pie here, maybe foxes. Taiga villages are kind of scuffed because there's just trees in the way, but they're okay for pumpkin pie and they're okay for foxes. But again, no desert, no ocean, I'm out. You know what I mean? Like what do I need? I need a jungle, I need a mushroom island. I need 3 shells. I can get that all in an ocean. So just do ocean, right? Like there wasn't an ocean, there wasn't a desert to get more gunpowder potentially, so I'm out, you know? And then looking for another bastion. Maybe I'll leave it off this bastion here. And now I'm out. Won a few hundred blocks. Nice hobby. Um, loading newer chunks, right? Oh, that's funny. Again, we'll pop out the paint again. This is what I did. This is, I guess, my pathing, right? In the world, I guess. I don't think that was that far. It's more like this. Again, going perpendicular, giving myself big areas to search. That looked like boobs. Giving myself big areas to look at that don't overlap things. And here, F3 says I'm in an ocean. Awesome. Mushroom Island, jungle, potential, right? You know, screw it. And I kind of high rolled here. I blinded basically right next to the Mushroom Island. So it was lucky. I'm not gonna lie. You know. Oh shit! You can't see the gameplay. Epic. But again, Mushroom Island. On Mushroom Islands, I always like to get this flower for the blindness stew early so I can craft it at the Mushroom Island. Front loading things so I don't have to waste time on them later. Double Mushroom Island, very cool. Again, more so like getting things early so you don't have to time waste later. Just more on that theory, right? So you don't have to scramble. More gold. Need 3 more shells. Need a jungle. I need swamp on this night still. Because my dumbass didn't get it before an hour 30. But can still find a jungle coastal, right? Like every jungle is basically on a coast somewhere. Like I said, it's very rare to find landlocked biomes. And I still have to get 3 shells, right? So I'm still just vibing around. In the ocean, desert or ocean, following the sort of guideline of how to play the overworld. And I've basically done most of the junk. Like if you look at the overlay here, oh well, now the YouTube video title is in the way. But if you look at the overlay, like what am I missing, right? Like that isn't from the jungle. Missing foxes, missing llamas. Bees happen during the endgame. That's what I'm missing for breeding. For food, pumpkin pie, but this happens a lot in the endgame because you can wait for a chicken to lay an egg. And regular sus stew. I'm pretty sure I did that in the mushroom and just didn't pause though, or it's in my inventory. Mob, creeper, spider. Those just get done during a night cycle, and then I didn't do Zoglin yet in the Nether, right? But I've cranked out a lot of these small annoyances because then your end game just breezes by when you're just focused on potions. How do we get here? Debris, end game, right? Like there's no other like distractions, no other time loss. It goes really fast. So the goal is to get as much like small BS done as early as possible. There's my swamp over there. I probably get slimes there. And yeah, it is lucky that I ended up getting jungle last. Didn't end up getting jungle before I got leads. So it is pretty lucky that that happened. That's kind of the only real big misplay in this run so far was the slime avoidance, I guess. So there's the slime finally. I guess like it worked out. It's not correct though. Should always get slimes ASAP. Just that again, the theory of getting things early so you don't lose time to them later. I just got lucky that I didn't lose time to it later because I didn't run into a jungle until like after the slimes, like late in the run. But if I hit a jungle at all, I would have had to lose a lot of time doing ocelots or lose a lot of time going back to do them later with the lead. So again, just like a misplay. Beehive, Flower Forest. Like I said earlier, the rates for them spawning in Flower Forest is higher, so you can kind of just find them. I think I just got that beehive because I felt like it. I think I have 3 though. And maybe I'm just like looking for a 4th. Because 2 is good because you can get 2 cycles in, and then 4 is you can get them all in 1 cycle if you leave them. But 4 is obviously time loss. 2 is more than enough in like any run if you just set them up during your end game. 2 is more than enough as long as like 1 is full. Wonder what I'm looking for here. Pumpkin pie, foxes maybe. It's not really the best idea to look for pumpkin pie in those chests, honestly, because it's like a 10% or something. But if it works, it works. It's like a high roll, I guess. Yeah, it's not really right or wrong. It's just high roll, yeah. Looking for more shells. No shells. I see some desert here, so maybe and then the ocean looks like it's getting really bad, you know what I mean? Like swamp on a side, forest on a side, stone shore, like the ocean's done, you know? So I might go in the desert here. Get some final gunpowder so I don't run out. Get some final TNT. Maybe get jungle, blind out when I need to, you know? Again, the theory, desert, ocean. Ends up not being a great desert, I guess. Or just leads to like more ocean. But this is kind of like crappy terrain in general. Like it's not really a good ocean. It's not really a good desert. Well, I mean, they're like even bad oceans have shells sometimes. Like that wasn't nearly like a good ruin. There were like 3 dudes there instead of some big ones get like 20. But you check them all, it works eventually. Just needs to hold it. And there's my 8th shell. So I need... What do I need? Jungle? That's it. So it's just blinding until I get jungle, basically. There's a little bit more small BS, like Arbalistic, Foxes, stuff like that. So I think, yeah, I think here I got to fish for Arbalistic. Maybe if there's a Taiga here, I'll try to do Foxes because it's daytime. Things like that. So I'm just looking for 4 mobs in close area. Again, trying to do things early so you have to do them later, right? Like I could have just left on that lava pool and tried to find the jungle, but then I would have had to find another spot to do Arbalistic. But here I'm like already close to a plains. I can get it off with little to no time loss. Like why not just do it early, you know? So that's what I'm doing. And then maybe I look for a Taiga here. For foxes, maybe I just blind out. We'll see. Who knows? I don't actually know. Also looking for llamas on this wooded mountain also. Yeah, there's Taiga. So maybe I'll look for foxes. Just because it's daytime. Doing foxes or any mob at nighttime is just annoying. Found the foxes. Had to kill the wolf because they would kill the fox, so that's unlucky, I guess. Did this strat, you just grow up the baby fox. There was another adult, but it kind of ran away, and I didn't want to like deal with trying to find it. So what happens? Oh, I was just finding it anyways? Okay. Just found it anyways. But yeah, foxes are just annoying because they try to just dive chickens and stuff and just are fast. Foxes just suck. But I did them. Now I think I'm gonna just look for a llama and then try to blind out and find a jungle. So I'm gonna try to find like wooded mountains, I think, to leave on. Find llamas, build my portal there. Yeah, found some llamas, right? Just because I'm there, right? Like, there might not be mountains close to spawn, but I know there's mountains close to where I'm at now, so why not just do them, right? And then it's just leaving. And I'm trying to conserve obby. I didn't get a ton, so I just go off this portal. It's not like necessary if you have a lot of obby. But it's just nice to like try to force lava pools or like room portals or stuff. But again, now it's just find more open terrain. Maybe I'll try to leave here on a Crimson Forest for Zoglin, right? Because I didn't do that yet. Maybe I leave on this bridge for Zoglin even. No, I leave in this Crimson, yeah. It's just because I have to do it, right? Like, why not overlap getting the Zoglin with exploring more terrain, right? Just a pretty basic overlap. Ends up being a shitty cave. So I might not even dig up. Maybe I did. I don't really remember this run. But yeah, just overlap terrain with, or like exploring new terrain with getting Zoglin, exploring new terrain with getting Uneasy Alliance, stuff like that. I probably hit the jungle because it's record, right? Yeah, I did. Jungles are easy. It just has to be daytime for ocelots, and I noticed here that it's about to be nighttime, so I tried to force ocelots as quick as possible, and I got a couple. It's just like really inconvenient to do them at night because you can't like force spawn them at all. So doing them during the day is like very much ideal. Otherwise, you just lose a lot of time. And then it's just find the bamboo by just going in the jungle till you get lucky. And then find the pandas. I used to pyrite for pandas, but they're just fucking big and fat, and you can just find them with F3B or whatever. They're just easy to find. So just the F3B spam. It helps me. Cause like when it's sort of like changing how it looks, it helps as opposed to just being static. So that's why I do that. And then again, just get the jungle foods, obviously. Do it now, not later. Don't forget anything there. So yeah, now like what? Like I have to kill a creeper. I have to get phantoms, so I set it to hard. And I kind of got boned on phantoms this run. We'll see later, but I kind of got screwed. Do sniper duel here. Yeah, why not? You know, because I have to like be in a convenient spot to do phantoms, right? Like if they spawn all over the ocean, it's gonna be annoying. So I'm trying to overlap like doing things that I need to do, like just basic like do them whenever advancements with getting phantoms to spawn, being in the overworld during nighttime for that. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. But I think I probably leave soon or get screwed or something. I don't actually know. Yeah, I kind of just get boned. Like I didn't want to force it too hard. Because it's a time loss if I'm just like sitting here and waiting. But it ended up like fucking me over in the end, so I don't know. Doing phantoms later is better because they just like spawn more often later. But I guess I got punished here and lost a few minutes. But yeah, now it's like sort of the end game thing, right? Like I have all my biomes. I have all my TNT that I need. I have shells, thunder, notch, right? Like I'm just doing like wrapping up the stuff in the nether, wrapping up any small things that I missed. And the goal with the like overworld is to do most of the small things so that your end game goes fast, right? Like I don't have to breed any other mobs. I just need to breed B. Like that's done, you know? Like I don't need to kill any mobs. Hoglin's really the only one that sticks out, that it doesn't just happen during the end game. For foods, it's just pumpkin pie, and then it's just end game foods, right? Like I'm doing the small things early so that they don't slow down the end game later. Another ingot, baller. Heading back to spawn here, I'll just end up hitting bastions on the way back, which is pretty cool. I could have like maybe timed this better, because being in the overworld here when it's nighttime, I need for phantoms. So I kind of screwed that up a little bit. But it's hard to fit the debris mining in here, and this is sort of where I messed up in this run at the end, because you have to be in the overworld during the day for bees to work and spawn chunks, unless you bring them in the nether. Or you have to be in the you also have to be in the overworld at night for phantoms. So when you go to the nether for debris, it's like hard if you don't have one already done. So yeah, now I'm just starting the early game. I got a trader, that's funny. And this guy show up. But yeah, the end game setup is just bees, pots, debris, build whatever how do we get here setup you're using, clean up any small things, and then just do the raid, do the dong, and win, you know? Like I'm assuming that you know, like the people watching this video like sort of know the basics of how that like works, you know? I'm not gonna like super advocate for one setup over the other. I use like the old school sort of TWAG consistent setup just because I never mess it up. It only loses me like about a minute over like the Chad setups, and there's really no room for error. So I take a little bit of time loss for like peace of mind and consistency. But if you can pull off a setup, you should just do setups that work for you. You know, I'm not gonna advocate. I'm not saying everyone should do the safe setup. Like if you get bad nerves or you just want to make sure that you always finish the run, I think T-Wag's old setup is really good. His new setup's also pretty good. It's a little bit faster. There's a little bit more room for just fuckery. But use whatever setup you feel comfortable with, in my opinion. But this is, again, just the basic endgame stuff. The endgame should go fast because you should be done with the basic stuff. Like, I don't have any filler things to do. So I'm going to brew pots, do debris, do the raid, and then be done. You know, like there's no real filler things to get done. What I should have done... Well, not really. I was gonna say I should have done debris now because it's raining, so the bees can't work during the day. But I also needed... I don't have thunder in this run yet, so I need to wait for that. So I can't really do that. And I also don't have phantoms, so I can't sleep. I didn't get phantoms earlier. Yeah. So phantoms earlier are actually good because you can play more with the end game and not mess things up. But yeah, just end game stuff. Like I said, pots, that's it. Like and then I have to build the setup and then do debris, do the raid, and I'm like done, basically. Got the egg for pumpkin pie just because it's chickens lay eggs when they're loaded for long enough. So like basically all the time you're gonna have chickens in your spawn chunks. So that's when I get pumpkin pie. And then it thundered. Poggers, yeah. But again, if this was like a normal run, I would, or like a run where I had phantoms, I would sleep because I would have phantoms. But I don't have phantoms. So I can't sleep to make it daytime to make the bees work. So I ended up just forcing debris here. So it's just debris. Go down to like Y14, dig in a straight line below up TNT. It's not that hard. Really no tech here other than just place TNT on the way back and blow it up. I ended up like trying to high roll here and it didn't work. I wanted to get phantoms during this night cycle. So I ended up sitting in the overworld on hard for about 6 minutes, basically doing nothing other than like killing creepers and like getting wood and stuff, and I got no phantoms. So I kind of low rolled and lost a few minutes. I don't really know if it was right or wrong or whatnot. I wanted to like try to play for the sub 3. But I didn't end up getting phantoms. I think like statistically it's a low roll. I'm not sure. Unlucky either way. So I ended up just having to go finish debris. Lost like maybe 5 or 6 minutes to just not getting phantoms. Got my debris, finished it. There's really no like, it's not really complicated. Like I said, just run it. And then had the bees set up. I got an extra beehive, I guess, in those 5 minutes that I was chilling in the overworld waiting for phantoms. But then, like, I mean, I don't have any junk left to do, you know? It's, like, just the end game, so I'm gonna start the raid, stuff like that, right? Actually build my setup first, I forgot. And again, like I said, it doesn't matter what setup you use. Like, let's see how long it takes me to build this. 245... 246, they're like a minute and a half, right? Of like the setup with the conduit and the dolphin and everything. And then obviously everyone has to build the beacon. There's no beaconless setup. So yeah, like it's really not that much of a time loss, in my opinion, and I'm just comfortable with it, not messing it up ever. Ran the raid again. I just like 2RD raid. Pretty simple, basic stuff. I guess I overlap netherite here, but if you just crank out a 2RD raid with like a good sword or even just your axe, it should only be like 3 or 4 minutes. And I just like super make sure to get kill credit on Evoker and Vex. I tend to try to just kill the Evoker last, as long as like there's no ravines that the Evoker can fall in or like golems to kill it. It should just always work. Because if you kill the Evoker in the middle, it can like the kill can get sniped. So it's just like whatever. And then at High World here, I got Phantoms. I wish I had those a few, like on the previous night cycle, but just set the difficulty to hard so they spawned easier. And that was nice. And then the only reason why this endgame was super slow was because I ended up having to bring the dolphin over. First of all, I had to blind to this monument. And then I had to go get the dolphin from the close, like the Mesa Ocean here, which was like 1K away. So, I mean, this is just basic endgame stuff though. Like there's not much to talk about here, you know, just like get everything set up. This one was just kind of scuffed because everything was all over the place. So, just going a lot of places obviously takes time. Like I'm flying this dolphin in from like 1,000 blocks away. Like this is slower than if the dolphin was just at spawn because I had an ocean at spawn, right? The monument was 7,000 blocks away. The raid was close. That was nice. But yeah, I mean, then it's just literally endgame stuff. Like that's it. Blew up endermite. I scuffed this up a little bit. I built with dirt, so they took the dirt, so they actually got out of the hole. So this was bad. I could have saved like a minute, because there's like 8 of these dudes mad at me, and I almost died. And then I did endermite out here anyways, and got it. But then when I went back in, there were the dudes mad still, so I had to like kill them. It was just scuffed. Could have been better. But I mean, that's it really. Like just cranked it out. The end game's pretty simple because it's just like a checklist of things to do. The mid game is where everyone's major time loss is. Like the end game gets very muscle memory like, especially if you're getting all the bullshit done early. Like if your end games are the same every time because you're just doing the end game, then you will always do the same thing and be fast at it. The mid game is the important thing, and the big lessons for the mid game is desert and ocean are your 2 biomes that you need to play in all the time, and you need to get things early so that you don't lose time by not having them later. Like, get food early so you don't have to scramble for it later. Breed things when you see it. Grab hay bales. Like, grab buried treasure early, right? Like, a one that I'm still guilty of a lot is, like, preparing for endgame and not having the Heart of the Sea. So then I have to go from spawn to the ocean closest, get the buried treasure, and come back. That's a time loss compared to just doing it in the ocean while you're in an ocean sometime in the run. You know? So that's the big lessons for the mid game is desert and ocean, do things early so you don't have to do them later. And then honestly it's just play a lot. Like grind it out, things start becoming more muscle memory, start forgetting things less, learn how to overlap things better. Like the zombie doctor split just gets crazy the more and the more you play. Just because you get in every situation, like based on the point you are and the run where you have to do it, you get in like every type of overlap situation. But the mid game is definitely the part where people lose the most amount of time compared to like optimal play. Early game is pretty basic. Like it's just sort of like being fast in the end. Is sort of the only really skill issue. Like otherwise it's just any percent. And then the end game, like I said, also is just muscle memory once you have it down enough. Like it's the same thing every time. Because everything's ordered the same, like you're doing the same things. Whereas the mid game, like biomes come at you at different spots, like terrain comes at you different ways, like weather, shit like that, you know? Like the mid game is very different in each run, whereas the early game and the end game are very like rigid. So most of the time save that a lot of people will have will be in the mid game by not exploring like the right chunks, not going the right directions. And I hope I explained that well enough. Like trying to stick to good oceans, trying to stick to good deserts, blinding in the Nether when things get bad, going far enough away so that you get enough distance so that you don't backtrack on yourself. And that's about it. I don't know. If you comment on the video with a question, I'll answer it. If there's a lot of people that want like a more in-depth thing on like specific parts of the run, I can do that. I kind of just like winged this commentary, so I could have missed things. There are a lot of guide videos out like everywhere for like reverse uneasy, how do we get here setups, 2RD raid, Shulker yeet. So I didn't talk about like mechanical stuff. You can find those guide videos in the AA Discord. But I'm open to making guide videos on things that aren't out there yet, or like if you guys want to see certain things. I don't know. But this is like my good first attempt at trying to explain what goes on in my head while I'm playing a run and like why I make the decisions I make. Because that's, in my opinion, what the biggest skill diff is, right? Like where the biggest time loss is in the mid game, where those decisions happen, and how to make the right decisions so that you're not wasting time, not overlapping things well enough. That's where I think most of the